Hi, this is Heidi, episode 85, The River of Misery. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello, happy March 2021. We've all come a full year since our life started to feel very upended last March 2020. I was just on a mastermind call with my favorite life coach peers today, and we were all together in Dallas a year ago when things started to really shut down. And on our call today, we were reminiscing and also reflecting on how much our coaching has improved and how much we've grown over this past year. I imagine you feel like you've grown in your own ways this past year. Everyone has definitely been given their own set of challenges to deal with, some visible and many private challenges. And it seems now many are experiencing new challenges and anxieties over re-entry back into professional and social worlds. Today's episode will speak to a few ways to handle this. Okay, before I jump in though, make sure you are subscribed to this podcast, and I hope you're getting my emails or you're in my Facebook group, Lose Weight and Gain Confidence with Heidi. I have several amazing masterclasses coming up where I'm sharing in-depth tools from my own weight loss journey, specifically what I did to lose and maintain the loss. And you'll want to first have the access to sign up for the April group for Lose 13 Pounds in 13 Weeks. It is simply fantastic to see women in my group realize what's possible and finally see a solution that isn't what anyone else is teaching them about. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about a concept or analogy that will help you visualize and manage your head around change, and especially when setting a goal. I first heard Brooke Castillo at the Life Coach School talk about the river of misery. This is the river of discomfort and basic hard change that we all need to go through if we want to reach a goal or create new habits. I love this analogy because I can really picture myself on one side of a river, and I can imagine all the anticipation of heavy steps and strong currents against my legs, and I can feel how easy it is to just stay complacent and just semi-unhappy on one side, just so I don't have to endure the pain of putting one foot in front of another in a big river. But of course, we all do it. We all go through the river because we want what's on the other side, those times we choose to do it. So what I really like about this analogy of the river of misery is that we can all relate to these feelings. And more than that, we all have this need to really want there to be meaning to the hard that we're experiencing in life. We all want to know that our hard work, our perseverance, our patience, and determination really is going to be worth it. So if we can remind our brains that the hard is worth it and it won't last forever and actually will get easier, we're more likely to stay in the river and push against the currents to reach our goals. I think one of the reasons COVID has been so hard for us is exactly this. We've been in this collective river of misery or river of becoming, as I'll teach you later. That's how I like to think about it. It's this river of becoming. And we've all been trying to make sense of it, and we've all wanted to know when an end is going to come. And most of us haven't been able to get a clear sense of when our new normal will come or when we'll be able to resume activities we loved. Our brains don't like not knowing. So if we can picture ourselves in this river, we can also give meaning to our challenges and cheerlead ourselves to the other side. Okay, so I have many examples. First, I'll use weight loss because most of us can relate to that. Maybe we have a goal to lose 20 pounds. We're on one side of the river, and on this before side, before we attempt our goal, we're living in comfortable discomfort, or we're maybe complacent. We aren't happy that our clothes won't fit. We aren't happy that we have less energy, but we're also enjoying giving in to urges and eating what we want when we want to eat it. We say yes to every lunch or dinner invitation. And we choose whatever we want on the menu. Our brain doesn't have to do a lot of work to stay on this side of the river. But in order for us to lose weight and make permanent changes, we're going to need to step into the river. There's no way around it, which means changes, discomfort. We're going to need to say no to certain foods, which our brain is going to really desire. We're going to need to take time to maybe write out food plans. We're going to need to maybe wake up earlier to exercise. We're going to need to also be incredibly patient. We cannot get to the other side in one day. Patience is one of those emotions that we will really need to feel, taking one step across the river every day. This is going to be hard for our brain. It will desperately want to go back to the first side where there was more pleasure in certain foods and less discomfort of us changing habits. This is why many people don't make it to the other side. They give up somewhere in the river because the known comfort on the previous side seems more appealing, since we don't totally know if it'll be worth it on the other side. Or at least that's what our brain tells us. Remember, our brains on default seek pleasure. They want to avoid pain and they want to conserve energy. So everything about the river of becoming, this river of misery, is something on default our brains want us to stay out of. Literally, our higher brain, our prefrontal cortex, is what needs to guide us through this river to the other side. Now, especially with weight loss, let's say we get to the goal weight. Many people aren't able to maintain their loss because all through the river, they didn't change what they were thinking. They thought, mistakenly, just arriving on the other side would make them a happier and different person. But just reaching the other side doesn't change us. The river is what changes us. That's why I also like to call it the river of becoming. So sticking with the weight loss analogy, it's inside the river that we become a person who can say no to foods that don't get her to her goal of being healthy. We become patient people. We become people who don't use food to solve emotional problems. We become disciplined people. We become someone who cooks healthier meals. We become someone who drinks more water. We become someone who values their body and their commitments to themselves more than they value leftovers and all-you-can-eat buffets. It's inside the river that we gain confidence and prove to ourselves we can change. It's where we change what we think about ourselves and we create new possibility. It's inside the river that we hopefully change our habits and these neural pathways driving our desires so that when we get to the goal and to the other side, our brain is comfortable there. If not, the brain and the habits from the other side of the river will snap us right back there. And that isn't what we want. So knowing the discomfort, the hard work, the discipline, the patience is all leading us to a better place, gives us motivation and meaning. And like always, the meaning is going to be what we decide it is. Think of this analogy like going to college. You want, say, a bachelor's degree. That's on the other side of the river for many high school graduates right now, right? The only way to get to the other side is to go through the river, to study, to write papers, to attend lectures, to take tests, and to do it semester after semester. It doesn't happen quickly or easily. It will involve failing, possibly. But it's inside the river that we become people who learn. We become people who manage our time well. We become people who can do group projects and give presentations. We become people who know that material that we're learning. So reaching the other side isn't the big deal. Okay, well, it is a big deal. But what we really want by going to college is to become someone who does all of those things. The degree at the end is just a formality that we can endure, that we can learn, that we can be disciplined. And most of us keep going, even though it's tough in college, because we know there's hope. We know it won't last forever, and we hope the education will benefit us for the rest of our life. Now, think about building a house. I had to do this years ago. I sat on one side of the river in a small house that we had more than outgrown, with walls that had little insulation in a neighborhood I didn't love. I had to get into the river of misery, which y'all, it's always worse before it gets better. In order to have my new house, I had to be willing to endure selling my house, packing, boxing, and moving my home a few times, living in an apartment, spending hours and hours on new home decisions. But the river was all worth it because I knew it would be over. I knew the discomfort was leading us to a bigger and more comfortable home. And it was worth it. But heavens, it is tempting to stay on that first side just to avoid all the pain. I find it's really helpful to keep actively reminding ourselves that it's worth it, that it will be easier, that we're going to get used to the river, that the hard work and patience will become the norm, and we'll find solutions in the river to make it easier. Our brains need us to be actively reminding them that the pain is worth it. A month or so ago, my husband and I realized our kids had their electronics too much at night, and even some had slipped into the bad habit of phones in their rooms. COVID has made it harder for us since my kids have been all remote school. So we haven't been monitoring electronics in their rooms as much as before. And we wanted to set some new limits and new rules to help with sleep and just what we think is healthy for them. Even though we've been pretty much a lot more lenient than's probably healthy, but whatever. We set a new rule and the kids were not happy at first. Like really not happy. But we felt that we were being very reasonable and my husband and I liked our reasons. We endured the complaining and the quote pain or the river of misery for the first few nights. But we kept telling each other they'll get used to it. They'll see the benefit. We just need to stay consistent. It would have been easy to just give in and let them have whatever they wanted, but it wasn't getting us the real result we want, which is mentally and physically healthy children. And guess what? Within like 3 days, they would come in at the appointed time and turn in their electronics. No arguments at all. And they still do because we endured and we were calmly consistent. It was worth it, but it took discipline. Okay, another example. My daughter knows how to ski, and a few weeks ago, she took an interest in snowboarding. Now, she's someone who will try new things. She's incredibly determined. She used her own money to buy a snowboard, and I was worried that what did happen is what would happen. Now, for her ski club on Friday nights, she took her new board, and luckily, she also took her skis. She had anticipated that it would be a lot easier than it was. Now, I'm not even sure she got up on the snowboard the first night. She definitely came home like mildly deflated. I'm sure she'll learn with some lessons probably early next season. So in order for her to learn to snowboard, she's going to need to fall a lot more than she's falling in skiing. She'll be learning a new skill. It's going to be a lot of work. Her brain will want her to just ditch her board and grab the skis that she's already mastered. Because I know my daughter's determination, I'm pretty sure that she's going to learn how to snowboard. And along the way, she'll become someone who can fall a lot and can pick herself back up. She'll become someone who has to go slow again before she can go fast, learning more patience. She'll become someone who can be humbled on the beginner slopes while her friends are on the black diamonds. All so she can accomplish her goal. She'll be proving to herself again that she's someone who can set goals and accomplish them. She'll prove to herself she's determined and disciplined and can endure. Now, this concept really hits home why we can't be in a rush to reach a goal. Rushing through the river of becoming means we're going to miss some of the important changes that we need so we're comfortable on the other side. We might skip changing a belief we have that's really tethered to the before side, which will unconsciously pull us back, maybe a strong self-doubt or deep insecurity. We need the currents inside the river so we build up muscles that will keep us standing on the other side. This river of misery or river of becoming concept really helps us see why people who lose weight by hating and shaming themselves into improving aren't happy on the other side, and they sabotage and gain the weight back. Their head is still more comfortable on the before side. So eventually their body is going to reflect their mind again. And I'll tell you, I do the work with my clients who get to the goal and they need to work on the discomfort of a new body, the newness of liking their body, of how, quote, odd it seems to not have the anxiety and shame they lived in constantly before. It's a new adjustment. And if you don't have someone helping you get comfortable on the new side, it can be tempting to slingshot back to the before side. I love helping clients do the fantastic and transformative work of liking themselves as much as they like and love others. And what I love is seeing women who go through this river of becoming with one goal and their mind changes, their habits change, their ability to handle their emotions change, their confidence grows, and they apply the same thought and belief principles to other areas of their life. They ask for the raise or they get the promotion at work. Their marriage is on better and calmer terms than ever before. They start the business they designed on paper as they raise their kids. The ripple effects of who we become are really awesome, like in the real sense of awesome. We become people who can set goals and achieve them. We become people who aren't afraid of change and aren't afraid to fail. We become people who drop the painful and hurtful stories of our past because they're heavy luggage to carry through the moving and forceful river. And we arrive on the other side lighter and happier. I want you to remember, above everything else, as you step into the river to make changes, tell yourself, this is hard and it's okay. This might be uncomfortable and I can handle discomfort. I don't like this and I don't have to like the river. I just need to keep on putting one foot in front of another and keep showing up for myself. It will be worth it. I am worth it. I take step by step all of the women inside my group weight loss program through this river. Lose 13 pounds in 13 weeks. Our new group is going to start mid-April, so you're going to want to join by early April. It seems easier to change and go through a river when others are going too. It seems easier when we know it's hard for others and we can support each other. And I love being the guide who supports and teaches and coaches and says, I've done it. It's worth it. And you're doing it this time in a way that permanent change is possible. Now, you can learn more about this program at HeidiBenjaminson.com and sign up. Make sure you're in the Facebook group and you see notifications and watch the upcoming masterclasses. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Your family wants you to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.